Let me record this meeting. So yesterday we started working with object-oriented programming, and which is one of the essential programming techniques for the recent programming world. So there are several programming languages that are supporting the object-oriented features. So as part of object-oriented programming, any application you are going to build up, that application is going to build all the different objects, right? So the different objects in the sense any application that we would like to. I'm extremely sorry guys, some emergency call it is. Yeah, I'm back guys. So as part of our object oriented programming, the objects are to be considered as the basic building blocks in that application, and every object should be capable of sending some values, receiving some values, and able to process all those data values to perform an appropriate logic over there, right? So like that, any object that we are going to work with, that object must be defined with some properties. So those properties are helpful for us to carry the data values, and all those data values will be utilized to perform certain operations or to perform certain functionality. So that's how we will be writing the functions and methods for that object. So to get an object, there must be an appropriate prototype, or there must be something called as blueprint. So that blueprint we are going to define in the form of a class. So our Java allows us to write the classes of our own. So we can name a class. Under that class we will be defining a set of properties and a set of functions or methods, you can call them. So that's how the properties and methods that you are going to define under the class should be considered as the members of the object that is going to be created. And once the class is ready, you are going to instantiate that class so that an object will be ready for you. And using that object, you will be able to invoke the methods, you will be able to pass the values, right? So that's how we did yesterday. So we defined one class called vehicle class, wherein couple of properties we defined and couple of functions we defined, right? And we wrote a main method wherein we tried to instantiate the vehicle object like V1 object, V2 object, all that, and we tried to invoke all of them and then got the output and we got to see the result, right? So that's how we worked with that, right? So that's what we did yesterday. And also in case if we wanted to reuse the existing functionality, we also tried to extend the existing class by using a keyword called extends, which is known as the inheritance, which is one of the important features of object-oriented programming, right? So in addition to that inheritance and all, there is one more important feature called as encapsulation, wherein the data values you need not to expose them to the outside world. You need to maintain them as the local accessibility, means the properties need to be accessible only within that class. Like for example, gear, speed, all these things, the outsider cannot be able to see them. Only the vehicle is able to see in which gear it is trying to get operated, at what speed it is running. So all those details will be visible to the people, those who are inside that vehicle, right? So the outside mechanism is not able to directly look at your speedometer. They are not able to directly look at the gearbox, all that. So couple of properties are purely private to that object. Whereas there will be different mechanisms to access the data, like getter methods will be able to define, setter methods will be able to define, right? So that's how, for the purpose of data hiding, you need to define your class with an appropriate boundaries and all. So when you are going to keep such boundaries for the properties or the methods, all that, you will be calling that particular ability as the encapsulation of that class. So that's how you will be able to come up with the encapsulated class definitions, all that, wherein majority of the time the properties of that class are going to be declared as the private properties, and then to make the modifications to those private property values, you will be using the setter methods, and in case if you want to read the values of them, the getter methods, all that will be generated. So that's how the encapsulated class is going to be. So we'll take a look at the different syntaxes of class specification and the syntax to declare the properties, syntax to declare the methods, all those things we'll take a look at. Right, so here is the brief description definition about this encapsulation thing, right? And then the class specification, wherein class talks about the properties, class talks about the methods, how the objects are going to work with each other, all that. And any class that you wanted to declare, you need to follow this syntax. So syntax means it is nothing but the grammar of that particular programming language is to be referred as syntax. So like that here, public is a keyword which defines the scope of your class. So as soon as in your Eclipse, as you are trying to create a new class with some name, that Java file will be created. So in that Java file, the class name should be same as the file name, and that class should be declared as the public class, right? So likewise, every time you are trying to create any new class in your Eclipse, it is trying to create a class called public class. So that public scope is given for that class. Public followed by the keyword class followed by class name. So in addition to this public, if you skip this one, it would be considered as the default accessibility. Means it would be accessible within the package where you are declaring that class. It will not go outside that particular package. And similarly, in case if you want to restrict the interfaces, restrict the inheritance, you don't want to extend your class, then in that case you can mark that class as a final class. So any class that is going to be marked as final, that cannot be extended, means no question of having superclass, subclass things, right? And abstract, we are going to discuss, we will be having a separate discussion on abstract classes, all that separately. So that time we will be discuss about this abstract keyword. And in case if you are trying to extend the functionality of any existing object, then you will be using the extends keyword followed by that object name. And in case if you want to implement any interfaces, you will be using the implements keyword followed by the interface name. And then open curly brace and close curly brace. Within these things you are going to declare the properties and you are going to declare the functions or methods, right? So interfaces as well as the abstract classes, it would be the separate topic. We'll be discussing only those two things together, right? So till then, this is the syntax for a class declaration. So a class is going to be declared as one single unit, and when you are going to instantiate that class, it will become an object. That is what we did yesterday, right? So here is the brief description about all those syntactical elements. Like the very first group talks about the visibility of that particular class. So if you mark it as public, means it should be visible everywhere. So if you skip that public keyword, that would be considered as the default scope, or that visibility of that class will be there only within the package, right? And then the second optional group talks about whether you want to extend it or you want to inherit it. Inherit or extend, both mean same. So if it is an abstract class, it must be extended. Whereas if it is final class, you cannot be extended it. You can never be extended it. That is what the difference between abstract and final. So your class should be either abstract or final. It cannot be both, right? So that's how we are going to work with. So we'll see those things as part of abstract class definitions, right? And then the extends keyword to establish the relationship between a parent class and the child class. Implements is a keyword which is helpful for us to handle the multiple inheritance with the help of interfaces and all. So that topic also we'll discuss separately. So let's try to create a new class of our own like this. So who would like to share the screen? Yesterday I think we were working with Josna on your machine, or Ahmad I think, right? Ahmad on your machine we were working, right? So I'm making you the presenter once again. So let's continue on the same package folder. Okay, so here let's create a new class. I think the font size, all that is very small, Ahmad. Is there any possibility to make it bigger font size? Cancel this one. I mean, for me, it's a problem, or for all other folks also don't know. I think screen resolution. Yes, yes. You can make it to right. Later you can change it. After the screen sharing is done, you can change it. Right. Perfect. Keep changes. Right. Right. It is little visible now. Good. Say new class and name this class as box class. Box. BOX box. And every box should be defined with some length, right? Some width, some depth, all those things. Don't take main method. No need. Let's just simply say finish. Declare these three methods, these three properties. Copy these three properties and paste them inside the box class. So all these three properties are the private properties, right? Now press enter after line 6. So any box, it should be defined with some length, width, height, or you can call it as the depth of that box, right? Anything is fine. Now let's generate the getters and setter methods for this. So right click at line 7, choose the option source. So inside source you will see the option generate getters and setters. Generate getters and setters. Select that. Select all. Click the button select all. and then click the OK button. Right? So this is how it has generated get length, set length. I mean, to read the value of length property, get length, that returns you the integer value of that value. So return statement is used, which is going to return you the value of length. Set length, you will be able to pass whatever the value you want to set it. That input parameter is assigned to the property called length. Right? So to differentiate whether it is input parameter or the property of box, so all your properties of box are going to be prefixed with this dot. So this dot length is equal to length, right? Equal to length. After that length, whatever you mentioned, it is a property, it is the parameter value. And this refers the current object and length refers the current property. So this is how for every property we defined the setter method and getter method. Right? Get length, set length, get width and set width, they are for width property. Get height and set height, they are for the height property. Press Ctrl Shift F. Right? So it is aligned very well. Save it. Okay. So this is how my box class is declared. Now, in addition to all these methods, let's declare one more method which is going to calculate the volume of this box object. Copy this method and paste it at line 31. Public int calculate volume. It is going to calculate the volume wherein it returns the multiplication of length, width and height. Press Ctrl Shift F. There you go. Right? So these are the methods that I defined for all these properties of my box class. Now I want to test how can I use this. Right? So right click on your package and create a new class, name it as box test. Take the main method as well. Right? There let us create the object of box. Say box b1 equal to capital box. See, data type is nothing but your class name. B1, it is your variable, so that should be lowercase, equal to new. New is a keyword which is used before instantiating that class. New space box, box box, open bracket, close bracket. So it is how the default constructor of that box is invoked. Put semicolon and it is going to instantiate the box object which is referenced by the variable b1. So you can in short call that b1 as an object. Right? Press enter. Now say b1 dot
Sorry, sir. Sorry.
b1 dot, right, you can see all those methods that you declared in your b1. It is not showing you the private properties. Now let's say go back to your box.java. For example, for any one property delete that private keyword. Like private int length is there, right? So just double click on private keyword, delete that. Only private keyword delete it, right? Delete, save and come back to your box test and try to type b1 dot. See, width is visible now. So such visibility, such data variable should not be exposed. This is not called as data hiding. So you need to hide it, means you need to make your class, you need to provide that ability to your class to behave as an encapsulated class. So that job would be done by writing those properties as the private properties. Since width is not marked as private, it is accessible here. Directly it is accessible. It should not be directly accessible like this. It is not the best practice. The best practice suggestion is that define those properties as the private properties and provide the getters and setters. Using them only you need to access those properties. That way you can call your box class as an encapsulated class. Right? So do you understand what the private is trying to do there in box.java? Now go back to your box.java and then say undo, press Ctrl Z, save. Then come back to this. Yes. So now it is not visible. Right? Now let's set the values. I mean set the values in the sense b1 dot set. Use the setter methods. Press Ctrl space bar. So if I want to set length, width, height, I can use these setter methods. 3 set methods are there, right? So use them. So you are setting some height. Let's set some 5. 5 is the height. Delete that. Set height 5. So this 5 is passed to your height parameter and is assigned to this dot height equal to 5. Do the same thing for the other properties as well. b1 dot press Ctrl space bar. Should pop up. Set length. Set some 10 as its length. b1 dot set width. Say 12. Okay, fine. Now let me print all these details. Write sys out box b1 details. Sys out within double quotes. You can say box b1 details. b1, small b1, right? The object name is small b1, right? So we want to print all those details one by one by using few more sysouts. Right? Write one more sysout on the next line within double quotes. Width colon not semicolon. After double quotes plus. So I want to display the width. How can I display? b1 dot there itself after plus you can say that. Right. Get width. Perfect. Copy that line and paste it again. b1 dot length. Length equal to b1 dot length. Or b1 dot get length. Correct. then say b1 dot height, get height. Get height. And then one more, volume. Sys out volume. So how do you display the volume? There is a separate method for that. We said calculate volume. It is going to calculate the volume of your B1 object based on all your volume colon. Why calculate volume? You want to display the volume. Volume colon plus B1 dot press enter. Calculate volume. It is going to return you the volume of your object. Right now press Ctrl Shift F. Save this. Run this. Let's see the output. There you go. Right? So width is 12. Is it same as the one which you set? Length, height, volume. Volume is nothing but the multiplication of all these three properties. So that's how it returns you those results. Right? So this is how we'll be able to work with these things. This is how the encapsulation is defined. Clear? So any questions here? Okay. So let me share my screen again. So this is what the encapsulated class definition you wrote there, and you got to see the output by testing this box object as well. So what is the syntax to declare the properties? So here is the complete syntax to declare a property. So properties are nothing but the field variables that are defined inside a class. So any class that you are going to declare without any properties or without any behavior, it is an useless class, right? So that's the reason we need to define some properties. So when you are going to define the properties, you can use any one of these three keywords, or you can skip out these three keywords, which will be considered as the default scope or default visibility. If you mention public, its visibility will be global. Private, its visibility is only within that class. Protected means it is within that class as well as within the project. That is what protected is. Whereas public means within the class, within the project, within the package, within the entire project, the accessibility would be. If you skip out all these three keywords, then it should be within the class, within the package, as well as within the subclasses of that one. Whereas if you say protected, within the subclasses, those subclasses should be there within the current package only. If the subclass is there in some other package, then these values will not be accessible. That's what protected is. Right? If you skip out these three things, then that would be accessible more like, I mean, little less than public and more than private, more than protected. Right? Then if you mark any property as a final property, then its value cannot be modified. Means it should be considered as a constant. And similarly, there are other keywords, static, transient, volatile. So we are going to use these things down the line. So for now, we can skip out. Followed by data type. So data type is mandatory thing. So whatever enclosed within these big brackets, they are the optional keywords. The ones which are there without any brackets, they are all considered as the mandatory elements of the syntax. So data type must be there. Then variable name should be there, right? Then initialize with some value. So take some value and assign that value to that variable. So this is how the variable is going to be declared, or the property is going to be declared for that particular class, right? So this is how the visibility or accessibility that you are going to declare for that particular class. So public means global, private means accessibility only for the current class or the classes that are going to be defined within the classes known as the nested classes. Protected means the visibility for the current class or to the extended classes. And default means it should be friendly accessibility, visibility should be there within the current package only. This is how the four different scope values you can say. Final means not modifiable, or you can call it as a read-only thing or constant thing. Right? So this third group we can skip it for a while. So we'll be revisiting this again. And these are the possible examples. So how do you declare a byte variable? So if you think that there are three variables of same data type to be declared, they can be separated with commas. And if you declare something like this, acceptable, 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 right? So these are all the possible primitive data variables we can say, right? So this is how the properties will get declared. Then the behavior or the functionality that is going to be represented inside the Java class is in terms of methods, right? So how can we declare them? So we'll be taking the public, private, protected, and then the final keyword you can take, then static, abstract, native, all these things. So same keywords whatever we applied for properties, so everything will remain the same thing. But any method that you are going to declare, that method must have a return data type followed by method name, followed by open parentheses. So within those parentheses you need to mention the parameters. Then open the curly braces and close the curly braces. Inside that you will be writing some logic. So this return data type should be something. So at least it should be void. Means if you are not going to return any value, then in that case you are going to mark it as void. Or in case if you want to return any integer value, float value, all that, then that data type you are going to mention. So any return type other than void you are applying for that method, then in that case there must be return statement written inside that method. So without return statement, if you are mentioning the data type other than void, is not acceptable, right? So this is what the syntax of your method declaration. And here are definitions. So all your keywords whatever we used, they are all same as the property declarations and all. Then comes the return type. So at least it should be void. So if it is other than void, there must be return followed by the variable name or whatever the result. So like if you observe your calculate volume method, right? So it is marked as to return the int value. So that is the reason we wrote return statement there, right? So all your setter methods are trying to return the all your getter methods, they are trying to return the values because every getter method is defined with an appropriate data type. Whereas setter methods are not defined with any return value. They are all just marked as void. Public void set height, public void set length, like that. So since it is void, you need not to return anything. Whereas public int get length. So get length method is going to return you the int value. That is what the meaning of it. Hence there must be return statement that should be defined inside that method. And majority of the cases, that return statement should be the last statement that gets executed in that method. So after the return statement, if you write anything else, that will not get executed. Right? And in case if you want to pass any parameters, so those parameters should be either 0 parameters or more than that. So every parameter must be declared with data type followed by variable name. For example, here, example 1, it is not taking any parameters and it is marked as void and is also marked as static method. Right? We'll go there. What is static method, all those things. Right? Then example 2, it is declared as int x, means it is taking one integer parameter. And this example 2 is also defined as with the return type int. Hence, there must be return statement. So here it is trying to perform some logic, x plus equal to 2, and whatever the x value got updated there, that x value is returned from this method, example 2. Similarly, example 3 is trying to take two parameters int x comma double d, and it is going to return you some result, x multiplied by d, which should be the bigger precision value. Hence, its return type is marked as double. Right? Similarly, example 4 is not returning anything, it's marked as void. But it takes three different parameters, int x, int y, boolean flagger, all that. Right? So this way, we'll be able to pass either 0 parameters or more than 0 parameters to the method as well. Right? So we'll stop here and we'll continue the different types of methods, all that in our next class, maybe tomorrow.
Uh, Excuse me, Amjad.
Yes, yes.
I have a doubt in my program. Do you want me to share my screen with you?
Let me make you the presenter. Right. Okay.
Um,
Yes.
I mean, when I run the program, it is showing server error. Oh, I'm sorry, not this one. See, suppose I'm running this. How to get into this folder?
Which one you want to run?
The box test and all.
You can right click on box test. No, no, not there. Not on the title. So in between the editor, somewhere in the editor, right click. Then say run as. It is not declared with main method or what? Just can you cancel this? Public static void main string. See, the main method syntax should be string array.
String array?
ARGS should be array.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Control Shift F. First of all, align the code properly. Right. It looks
Mm.
good. Save. Run.
Oh, okay.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
So volume is returned to you as null.
Mm.
So in your
Yeah.
box class,
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah. In my class, I didn't declare properly.
So you said public string. So by default, that string is null. So that is how it
Yeah.
comes with the data. Good.
Okay.
Right. Any more questions? Anybody else is trying similar kind of things?
No.
I mean, other guys, Tirumal, Shikanya, Josna, Rishita. Rishita, are you able to follow? So if you are not able to follow, don't hesitate. Right, you can stop me at any time. Okay, Rishita, I will also. Okay, no problem. In case if you want to talk to me some other time, please do let me know so that I can schedule a call or you can. I suggest you guys, can you create one WhatsApp group for all of us, right? Like you can say that 9 p.m. November batch, something like that. Java 9 p.m. November batch, all that. So you can take my number, you can add me in your WhatsApp group. Raja, can you take that initiative? So this is my number.
Oh,
Right?
okay, Amjad.
Other guys, you too can share your uh, right. You too can share your phone numbers with Raja Singh. So we'll try to create a WhatsApp group for all of us. Right?
Okay.
Thank you then. Yeah, sure, Rishita. I'll share the previous class these things. Right? No problem. Can catch up. Right. So we'll stop here. So you can, right? And we'll get connected tomorrow. So copy all these chat messages, Raja Singh,
Yeah,
right?
okay, Hamza.
So that
Yeah.
you can create things. Right?
Okay, Hamza, I'll create the group.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Just name it as 9 p.m. November batch. Why? Because there are several other Java classes. So majority of the time guys are creating Java class, Java class. No, no. Just create it as Java 9 p.m. November batch or October,
Okay, Hamza.
whatever it is, right? So that it is easy to identify.
Okay.
Thank you guys. Thank you. Right. Thank you. See you tomorrow.